on the program tonight, we're going to look at some Bible verses in the book of Matthew chapter 25 this evening that gives us a little bit of godly insight, words from Christ himself, on productivity, how to become a productive individual and a productive society. We're going to look and see what the Bible tells us about capitalism and about profits and all these things that you have heard, quote, progressive America condemn. Progressive America is liberal America. Again, I want to express to you, because it's needful to do so. Whenever I use modern terms to describe groups or people, it's because it's what you have to do. There's no other way to do it. The progressives in America today are those who seek to overthrow the Constitution, to move us into open, vile, flagrant sin, to destroy capitalism, and they call it progressivism. They're not talking about becoming progressive militarily or progressive monetarily. They're speaking of us progressing along by judging nobody for what they do, while, of course, those who preach that trash judges everybody for every move that they make. Anytime you see the Institute for Progressive America, know what you're dealing with. Back to what I was saying. The simple fact of the business is there's no way to label individuals today but by the labels that those individuals have stuck upon themselves. That's the only way we know who we're talking about. I've shared with you many times before. It's not Abraham, it's not Isaac, and Abraham did some good things, and Abraham did some bad things, so did Isaac, so did Jacob. It's none of those people that is going to affect mine and your lives today. Not those individuals. They can't. They're 3,000 years, 4,000 years gone. The names that we are going to have to contend with today is not Abraham, Jacob, Isaiah, Jehoiakim, or any of the rest of them. The names that we as a race, as a nationality, as a nation, as a people, the names that we are going to have to deal with today are names like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump. Those are the individuals today that we have to judge who and what they are. I said judge who and what they are by the Scriptures. And we have to understand that everybody in our midst, from me to you to everyone, to those who has power, to those who has control, every one of them falls under one of 5 categories in the Bible. Every single one of them. The Bible commands us that we know them that labor among us. It's our duty to do so. As I've shared recently with you several times on the show, it is the gift of the Spirit, predominantly that of the discerning of spirits that God has given us to equal the battlefield. We don't know what they know in Washington. We do not have the intelligence, intelligence gathering. We got the intelligence of most of our leaders today, and our intelligence far exceeds theirs. But we don't have the intelligence gathering apparatuses, CIA, FBI, and all this. We don't have all that. We don't have, we're not privy to the information, global world information that they get addressed on each and every day. We don't have that, so we don't have that knowledge. But what we must understand is to whom is given much power, much is required from that person. Those who has much, they got to be better people. And if we put worse people in and give them more, you in trouble, I'm in trouble, and the world is in trouble, and that is exactly what has been going on. But understand, the names we need to deal with today is not Abraham, Jacob, Isaac, Herod, or any of those names. The names we need to deal with today is Donald Trump, is Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, all of those people. So when I'm talking about and labeling people as liberals, liberalism, as Democrats or Republicans, there's nothing else to call them. So this is not a political slant in the program. I'm for good people. I'm against bad people. I like good people. I don't like bad people. Now, whatever label, a D or an R or an I for independent that they put over their name, I can't help. But if that's the movement that they are associated with, and they are good or bad, then there is no way to address them without addressing the movement of which they're in that is causing either good or harm to come upon the people of the United States or the world. So, with that said, I want you to understand this, that all of humanity, all of our leaders, falls under the category of one of 5 different categories. One is they're sinners, which all of mankind is. When we say that all are sinners, that does not mean that because this man is categorized as a sinner, it does not mean that he is an evil, vile, wicked person. He is without Christ. He is in sin. That's all of us until we're saved. Then the second degree of sin is evil. That's a sinner who practices evil. The word evil means someone who wants to do harm to you. As we get up into the higher ranks of government, those who has access to far more, therefore should be more responsible. We find crooks such as Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, it says, me and Bill came out of the White House dead broke.
You have no reason to remember, but we came out of the White House not only dead broke, but in debt.
And now they're worth billions of dollars. You know why? Because they sold American influence for themselves. They used America. They harmed America. They gave information to foreign countries, all of it proven now, to do nothing but enrich themselves. They brought harm on business. They brought harm to American soldiers. They brought harm to American industry. They brought harm to American influence. They gave secrets. They gave private information to foreign countries, all for the sake of enriching themselves. That is evil. That's a work of evil. You've got the sinner. Some sinners may be better than some Christians as far as their attitudes and natures go. But when you move to the sinner that is evil, then you're dealing with someone whose plan is for their own purpose to hurt you. And we got a bunch of evil ones among us today. The third degree of sin is the wicked. The word wicked means twisted. It means that you finally reach a place that they no longer know the difference between right and wrong. Their conscience is seared, which means it's cauterized. It's been burned up. Their conscience no longer affects them. They become psychopaths. And they don't even know the difference between right and wrong. And then the fourth stage is the abomination, the lowest rung on the ladder, and as deep in the vileness of sin as one can go. Abominable works. The Bible said, he that sows discord, spreads lying information about another, is an abomination to God. The Bible says that whenever a man lieth with a man as he lieth with a woman, that they have committed an abomination. These are the 4 ranks of sin. Every human being that lived, the Donald Trumps, the Barack Obamas, all of them, they fall under the category of the sinner, the evil, the wicked, the abominable, or the born-again Christian. The Bible, again, tells us to know them that labor among us. It is our duty to know who these people are, and our judgment based upon who they are and what they get and what they receive is not our judgment. It is to see how they stand biblically, that we may know who and what the man is. Now, I want to spend a few minutes from Matthew chapter 25 tonight. And I want to look at these words that has been demonized in American society. Capitalism, demonized. Profits, demonized. These progressive, these liberals, these Obamas, these Clintons, always condemning the capitalist, the capitalism that made America the richest country in the world. While, of course, all of them's hobnobbing around with the very Wall Street people that they're condemning, and they themselves are getting filthy rich, while millions more under Barack Obama, millions more has been put on the welfare rolls. Millions more. The largest number of Americans, maybe in history, is now completely out of the workforce. Thousands upon thousands that no longer even looking for work. That's what's happened. But those who has brought this economic collapse, those who has brought this increase of welfare, the lowest wages in years, they themselves, they're getting filthy rich. The very people they condemn, Wall Street, you find them in secret meetings with them all the time, padding and cushioning their way while they get paid off for it. All of it now we know is living fact because of WikiLeaks. Obama will leave office and he will make hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions upon millions of dollars for selling American influence, just like Bill and Hillary Clinton did. It's what they do. While at the same time they have condemned capitalism, the word profits, the word business, and brought forth the word equality, to use emotional terms to, well, of course, destroy. They're masters of the art of destruction. I want you to see what Jesus said about capitalism. Who to reward, who not to reward. Who to give to, and who to take from. It's found in Matthew chapter 25, and the verses begins with verse 14. Now, I'm not going to read all of this to you. I'll explain it after I read a little bit. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants," that's those who works for him, "and delivered unto them his goods." His goods. Delivered unto them his goods. "And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 2 talents, and to another he gave 1, every man according to his several ability." Now listen, several things here. There was a man who had servants, people employed, people that worked for him. The man was going to leave, and he chose out 3 people to see over his goods. Now, as we talk about America, the goods of this country, the manufacturing jobs that gives jobs, those are the goods of the country. The wealth of the country, that's the goods of the country. So forth and so on. This man who had a business, this man who had employees, he looked out among his employees and he picked 3 people of which he was going to entrust with his goods. These 3 people's responsibility was to see to his goods, to make sure that his goods was in good hands, and that the people that he picked and chose to look after his goods would turn profits and increase his goods. Because that's what you do in business. And if you increase in business, and someone helps you increase in your goods, then if there's any decency to you at all, you then in turn help those people increase their goods, because your business grows. And when business grows, jobs are created. Whenever jobs are created, people goes to work. They don't have to be on welfare. They're able to provide for themselves. It's all steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's just the way it works. But in this story in chapter 25 of Matthew, the 3 people that this man picks out, even they are not all 3 equal based upon what they have done. The man who owns the business, well, he's a man who has studied his workers. And he says, I'm going to pull this guy out and I'm going to give to him 5 talents to work with. So many thousands of dollars I'm going to give to this guy to work with. Let's just say $20,000. Then he says, I'm going to bring this guy also out to help, but I'm going to give him 2 talents. I'm going to give one 5 talents. I'm going to give the other 2 talents, and that's money, and I'm going to give the other 1 talent. Now, why would he do this? Why would he be unfair? Why would he be this ugly, cruel, capitalist, judging people based upon what? Why would he give to this man 5 and this man 2 and that man 1? Why would he give him 1 and give him 5 to work with? That's racism, that's prejudice, that's bias. No, that's business sense. He knew his workers. He knew that this man was most capable, that he gave 5. That's why he gave him the most. Because he was most capable of handling business, increasing goods, and making profits. So he gave him 5. The scripture says plainly, he gave 5, 2, and 1 according to their ability. That's the only way a system can operate and work. You can't have quotas where a quota has to be met and a quota has to be matched, and this color person gets to get in because we're 3 short of this color of person or this nationality of person. So the best man for the job has to be sent home while we get people who's not even qualified for the position to come in because a quota is mandated. Well, then you get people who's not qualified to cut your chest open, pull your heart out, and fix it. They're simply not qualified. But they're there because it's supposed to be equal. No. The best man is the one that's supposed to get the job. Whatever the job is, the best man gets it. That's the way it works in every other area of society. Let's go into the sports. My grandson said to me one time, he said, Pawpaw, he said, how come there ain't no white basketball players? We was looking at a professional game, the Lakers, and we was looking at this a few years back. I said, son, there are. And whenever they showed them over on the sideline, I showed them some white people. And I said, it's not based upon that. A basketball team or a football team's responsibility is to win. And in order to win, the best man has got to be on the field. If it's basketball or football, you can't go by quotas. You can't say this percentage of America's this race and that percentage of America's this color and this percentage. Therefore, that's got to be evenly matched out on the football field. You got to have so many percents of Asians playing, so many percentage of blacks, and so many percentage of whites, so that everything will be square and even. That's not the way they play sports. Why? Because they're shooting for a national championship. They want all the marbles. They want to win. And in order to win, whoever is the best at throwing the ball gets to throw the ball. Whoever is the best at running the ball gets to run the ball. It does not matter what race, what color, what nation they come from. If they the ones heads up on that field or on that basketball court that is your best man, then it goes without saying your best man plays, or either you are committing sport suicide. Every man according to his several ability. Nothing else makes sense. When you get into the government, well, everything changes. Why? So that those that are evil within government can use and manipulate and even keep and increase poverty, because there are actually people who get wealthy and get elected to office and places of power that they can come in broke and go out billionaires. See, it's real simple. It has to be the best man for the job, and it has to be judged by his several ability. So he gave one 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent according to their ability. Now, since I'm running out of time, let me shoot through this. The one with 5 talents, when the man came back, the one with 5 talents, as you read the story, took the 5 talents and doubled it, made another 5. He increased. He made a profit. The Lord said, "Thou good and faithful servant." Not what the progressive liberals say about profit, condemning it in anyone who works for it. The man who had 2 talents, when he was called in to give an account for what he did with his stuff, he had taken the 2 talents, invested the 2 talents, increased, doubled the profits. Now he had 4 talents. The man who had the least ability, and that least ability was recognized and known from the beginning by the wise man that ran the business, only got 1 talent. And what did he do with it? The Bible said he dug a hole and put it in it and went about his business. To this one, the Lord said, "Thou wicked and you slothful servant, I gave you something to tend to, and you didn't do anything with it." He said you could have put it in the bank for usury, for interest. If you wasn't going to labor, if you wasn't going to work, if you wasn't going to use your brain and make something happen with it, you could have at least, he said, put it in the bank and it would have drawn interest. But you dug a hole and put it in it. And the bottom line of it was this. He said, take from him that has the 1 talent and give it to the one that now has 10. Brothers and sisters, that's not cruelty, that's common sense. But it is completely opposite of what these progressives, liberals, and these Democrats keep hollering. That you need to take everything from the 10 talent people and give to the 1 talent people. Why is it that you don't do that? Because of their ability. That's why you don't do that. You see, if you break the 10 talent people by taking and forcing them to give everything to the 1 talent person, the 1 talent person don't know how to use the goods. They don't know how to turn a profit. They don't know how to make money. They don't know how it works. And so you give it to them, and they waste it upon themselves and upon addictions and such things as this. Now, the only way that that 1 talent person is going to survive is that the 10 talent person thrives. Now, true enough, where much power is, there's much corruption. There has to be laws upon business that if they break those laws, they ought to be put in jail 5 times longer than anybody else. But nothing should be done to hinder their ability to grow their business, grow their profits, grow their income. Nothing should be done to stop that, to halt that, because they are the ones that employs the 1 talent and no talent people. When was the last time a poor man ever built a business? When was the last time a poor man ever employed you? When was the last time a poor man ever gave you a job? They don't, because they can't. So we see how the system is supposed to work. Now, I close out with this on the program today. Mr. Trump has taken office, and already he has given the probably greatest Christmas gift that you could give to people in Indiana. The Carrier air conditioner service was leaving. They was going to Mexico. The man's not even in office, and he already negotiated a deal for him to stay. 1,100 to 1,400 people found out just the other day that they was going to keep their jobs, and one of the promises that Mr. Trump made, well, he kept. Barack Obama was asked a question by a man in a town hall meeting about that very issue, who worked for Carrier, asking, what are we going to do? Mr. Obama began to mock President-elect Trump, saying, what is he going to do? Wave a magic wand and make these jobs stay? These jobs are gone forever.
Donald Trump came to Indiana and talked a lot about what happened with the Carrier Corporation and shipping their jobs out of state. Here's someone who worked for Carrier, and he has a question for you.
How you doing, Mr. President? How are you? My name is Eric Cottenham, and I'm representing the Steelworkers Union, Local 1999, and I'm trying to find out what do we have left as far as all of our jobs are leaving. Indianapolis, right? And I see here you're doing a lot of things, but in Indianapolis, there's nothing there for us. I mean, what's next? I mean, what can we look forward to in the future as far as jobs, employment, whatever, because all of our jobs is left or in the process of leaving, sir.
And when somebody says, like the person you just mentioned, who I'm not going to advertise for, that he's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What are you going to do? There's no answer to it. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
It's called negotiating and knowing how to negotiate. And then just days after this wonderful Christmas news came to the people in Indiana, that the business was staying there and they would remain employed, the most wealthy man in Japan came out and said that he was now, because Mr. Trump was president, fixing to invest $50 billion, not million, $50 billion in America and produce at least 50,000 jobs. All this, and the man ain't even got in office yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Masa of SoftBank from Japan, and he's just agreed to invest $50 billion in the United States and 50,000 jobs. And he's one of the great men of industry, so I just want to thank you very much.
There might be some more people's able to go to work, put some food on the table, and get them a house before this thing's over.
I'd like to take a load off of you. Just put it on my back and I'll carry it too. You look like you could use a day or two. Get yourself some rest now, and while you do, I'll carry that load for you. Now all of these troubles, they're not yours alone. 'Cause you my brothers and my sisters, and this is our home. Won't you take yourself a day or two and get yourself some rest now? And while you do,